Estamos de regreso en Trendzone y es el Trendzone más especial que yo creo que hemos tenido en la historia.
Gracias, Martín.
Sin duda.
Y además es algo impresionante, nos quedamos sin palabras. Estamos con un ícono absoluto del juego, con un nombre que todo el mundo conocerá. Y no voy a dar más introducción, que es Joe Montana, el legendario quarterback de los 49ers. Y cambiamos a inglés. Mr. Montana, it's an honor for us to have you here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Do I call you Joe, Mr. Montana, Joe Cool, Mr. Four-time Super Bowl winner?
I know my hair's gray and losing it, but you can call me Joe.
All right, Joe.
He's a big Niners fan. So,
there we go.
Among other things. Joe, welcome to the show. You played 4 Super Bowls. This was going to be Patrick Mahomes' third. How did your experience change from one game to another?
Well, I don't think there was – I think the first one was probably the most different, mainly because you'd never been there before. You don't know what to expect. But once you've been there once, then the game becomes – and every time you get back, you understand what's going on. It's a little bit easier during the week when you get there. You know you're going to have to do certain things, and you know you're not going to be able to do certain things. So I think the first one – was a lot more nerve-wracking, mainly because, like I said, you didn't know what the media days were like. You didn't know, what our schedule was going to be for practice and free time.
Sure.
And, but once you get past that, every time you get there, it's still that same excitement because it's hard to get there.
Let's talk about winning Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
So you won your first against Cincinnati, and then in the second you played the Miami Dolphins and Dan Marino, and everybody was talking about this hotshot new quarterback. And in the end, you beat them handily in that game. And we have a similar situation now, no? With Mahomes having won a Super Bowl before against Jalen Hurts, who's like a new hotshot quarterback. How do you think your experience of winning that Super Bowl helped you win the second one?
Well, I think the biggest part of that game was that, obviously Marino had a great season, but the one thing I think people didn't realize going into the game is we had the #1 defense.
Yep.
And, no matter what they say, it's fun to watch the offense, but defense wins championships. And I was fortunate to be on a bunch of teams with great defenses, and so it made my job a lot easier. Because they were so good on that side of it, we could make a mistake and know that they would step up
to
the game. And I think this is going to be a similar situation. And if you look at both teams got good defense, but Philly's defense they're big up front, they're strong, and and hopefully Patrick is in 100%. Because I think he's going to have to be moving around. They're going to, as you can see, with the pressure they got on the 49ers. And they've done this to a lot of teams throughout the year that, he's going to have to move around and make plays like he does. Just hopefully, nobody knows until we see him out there on the field. They'll tell you he's healthy. But, he didn't move a lot last game. He's had a couple weeks to get fresher. And I'm sure they're doing everything they can to make him that way. So I think that's going to be the big test is can they slow down that rush and let him do his thing enough. He plays well in the pocket too, but he makes all those big plays, throwing off balance, upside down, whatever you want to do.
Sidearm, all that stuff.
Sidearm and all that stuff.
Joe, you had a lot of big plays, and you made those plays before the new quarterback era. What's been the biggest evolution play in quarterback play from your time to what you see now?
Well, I think the biggest thing they mix in a lot of these guys, a little bit of that run, pass option stuff, and we didn't do any of that back then. So I think that's probably the biggest transition as you see guys, and plus, man, if you stood next to some of these quarterbacks these days, I'm tired of looking up, man. I'm 6'2", but holy cow, these boys are big. Yeah. I mean, look at Jalen. Well, that's a big guy playing quarterback, and he's running the football. But I think probably that run pass option is just a little addition. I don't think you see it, being a full-time offense in the NFL at any time, but they'll mix it in with guys that can run the ball like that, and I think that's a big difference so far.
Joe, you
Sorry,
built.
I didn't mean to turn my back on you.
Yeah, you built a dynasty in San Francisco, Joe. When you won 4 Super Bowls, are the Chiefs in your mind already a dynasty, or do they need to win Sunday to get to that point?
Well, I think they're one of the best teams in the league, obviously, but you have to consistently continue to win over time, and they've been able to prove that they can do that. And obviously, winning another Super Bowl would definitely put them in that category. But yeah, I think anytime you play the Chiefs, you know you're in for pounding somewhere and some fun and some balls being thrown over your head, and you're playing a good team when you play Kansas City.
And well, to start with, tell us about the Advanced Auto Parts Big Game Most Valuable Pass.
Yeah, they have a promotion out called the Most Valuable Play. So in this game, if any quarterback, or let's say any player throws, because sometimes somebody else throws the ball on occasion, but anyone throws a touchdown pass over 25 yards, they're going to give away to 25 people free gas for a year plus a $500 shopping spree at Advanced Auto Parts. But you got to register, so you got to go to advancedautoparts.com before the game starts, get your name in the hat, and hopefully you can be one of those 25 lucky people.
That's great.
That's great.
I want to sign up right now. I mean,
if you live in the Bay like Joe and I, that's even better.
That's insane. Yeah.
Joe, Niners season, it didn't go as expected because of what they brought to the table with the roster changes and everything else. What do you make of the season, and what is it going to take for the Niners to get back here to the Super Bowl?
Well, I think the season was good. Unfortunately, you just can't overcome that many injuries in one game, in that big of a game especially. Maybe during the season you got a chance to get guys healthy again. But when you're playing in the playoffs and it's, you win or go home, that's what happens to you. So you got to accept what happened and, get ready for next year. And they've, the guy coming back, they took Jimmy out of the starting rotation there, but to me, he's won the most games, right? If you look at where the young guy did, he won some games, but I don't think he really understands that offensive style where I think Jimmy gets it. He's not a runner, but he can move around if he has to move around and make plays, but he's not that running style quarterback. And I think that's what you saw in Brock, was that he had that same ability. He plays in the pocket, and that offense is geared around that, and understanding that sort of like when I always hate saying when I played, but when you have guys like Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Brent Jones, Roger Craig, you don't need to try to make plays. Give them the ball. They're going to make plays, and that's what the 49ers have. They got guys who make plays. When you look at McCaffrey and Debo, and Ayuk,
George.
George. I mean, it's crazy. They got a lot of weapons, so he understood how to distribute the ball to those guys and let them do it. Occasionally, you're going to have to try to make a play somewhere down the line, but you don't have to make a play every time. And it's okay to punt because there was another really good defense, right? So you're punting and those guys can play. Can't keep them on the field all the time, but you still can put, they're getting paid to stop the other team too, so don't be afraid to punt, and they weren't.
And talking about this Super Bowl, you've already analyzed a little bit of it, but who do you think will win, and who do you want to win? I guess Kansas City, of course. But
I would love, it would be great to see Kansas City win. Philly, I just think Kansas City has to play a really good game because Philly's on a roll.
They are.
So I'm going to pick Philly, but my heart's with Kansas City.
Right.
But let me preface that when I first retired, I went to work and was in the booth, and the makeup lady had, before every weekend, she would come out and everybody would pick all the games and everybody put $5 in. She came out laughing so hard one time, and I go, "What are you laughing about?" Said, "Everybody around says your picks are so bad. they want you to have your money back." So the Chiefs will probably win.
There we go.
We have a massive Mexico fan base, Joe. The 49ers Mexican fan base is huge. I got the chance this year to go down there with 49ers pre- and post-game live. the following is just enormous. So this is going to play very well with them. You were talking about the Niners and their quarterback situation looking into the future. Kyle said Jimmy's not going to be back, or it doesn't look like he'll be back, so it's either Brock or Trey. On that scenario, who do you think is best suited to do what Kyle wants to do? Because it's a matter of Brock looks efficient, but is there another level with what Trey can bring with the run RPO game like Jalen does with the Eagles?
I don't think you can put – I don't think from my understanding, the injury that he has to his elbow, they don't know how long he's going to be out. And that's why I prefaced it earlier by saying the guy who's won the most games for you, he can't seem to stay healthy, but is Jimmy. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you can let Jimmy go yet. Maybe Jimmy doesn't want to be there. I don't know. I'm not around down there. But if I'm looking from the outside, I don't think the young guy right now has enough to make me start him ahead with the team that I have, and I know how far it can go.
You mean Trey?
Yeah, with Trey.
Okay.
That I want to start Jimmy. That's just me. I would want someone who knows my offense, plays my offense, and understands it. Yeah, the running can be a portion of it. You can put him in on occasion, let him do those kind of things. But I'm not sure if he's 100% ready to be a full-time starter with that offense yet. But I could be wrong. Like I said, I don't go down and watch practices. So obviously Kyle has a better feel than I do. But that's just me. I like the way, I wasn't a big proponent of Jimmy in the beginning, only because, you bring a backup in from who's only played a few games, has already been hurt as a backup to be a starter. But when I look at the picture as a whole, I think you got to keep Jimmy until you figure out if Brock's going to make it through if he's going to be healthy in the season. If he's healthy, I start Brock.
Interesting, Joe. Well, one of the final questions here. In this quarterback area, who do you identify your play back and then with your dominant play as someone that you see now on the field? What's the reflection like right there?
I think I'm just like Mahomes and Jalen together.
Wow. Wow.
Put together. Right?
Blended. If Mahomes and Hurts had a kid, it would be Joe Montana.
You know what? I never really thought about it. I don't really try to compare like who does something that I would do, but most of the time, we played from the pocket.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we used the shotgun one time, and the guy snapped it 3 feet over my head, and Bill said, "Okay, no more.
No more of that.
Get up underneath the center." But I don't know. I've never really looked at guys that way in that position, but they're all fun to watch.
Yeah. Would you have wanted to try the RPO option back then? If it was if Bill would have come up like, "Hey, we're going to try this," would have been.
Well, I was 185 pounds, soaking wet, so I don't think he wanted me running with the ball very much. But I'm not a runner. Some of that, whether you're going to hand off or throw, different story. That would have been fun to be a part of. But being a part of the running, that's not my forte. I can move and I can run if I'm being chased, I'll run. But in most cases, I leave that up to the guys who know how to do that better than me.
Joe, just to finish, there's a huge following, Niner following in Mexico. You are, the reference. You're the reason why there's that huge following. Yeah. We know that you've been in Mexico a few times. What will be your message to those Mexican Niner fans who are watching this show now and are
flipping out,
not believing that it's happening?
Well, no, I just want to say hello to everybody. I've been down there many times. Was working down there a lot, and the people and the culture and the food.
Yes,
just, loved it, and I totally enjoyed all my time down there. And just want to say thank you for all the years of support from over there, and hope you guys enjoy this game. And if don't forget to sign up for advancedautoparts.com for the 25.
Free gas for a year? Are you kidding me?
Our show's
one of those.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Thank you so much, Joe, for being with us. All the best. Thank you for what you did for the game, what you're still doing for the game as an ambassador for the 49ers, for the NFL. Just thank you so much for being with us.
You bet. My pleasure.
Appreciate
nice
you
talking to you. Nice talking. Thank you guys for having me.